welcome back. Yes, I promised you guys part 2. As you can see, I even brought a glass of water. I think I need it. Yeah, because it's story time. Yes. Yeah, probably Davis is actually hearing this for the first time. So uh yeah, I don't know, like I don't know if he thinks that this was baggage in our marriage, but I've done a lot of work on myself, like since I got married, and I know for sure that this was baggage. So I don't know, he's probably hearing this for the first time, but I gotta tell this story, just so that you can. And this is a fifth thing that I actually think people bring on to marriage. Sawa sawa. Yes. So I think I've said before that so we got married in 2012. That is June 2012. And before I got married to Davis, I lost my mom. So I lost my mom like 1 year back. So I lost my mom. To be precise, I lost my mom in July. That is July 29th, 2011, right? And yeah, and so when I got into the marriage, I was ready. Like, okay, I don't know if I was ready. I don't even know. But what I know is that, like, yeah, but I was ready to face anything, any challenge. I was ready, yes. So in June, because that's when we decided, June 2012, that's when we decided kuingia kwenye boxi la ndoa. Yes, I knew that this was gonna be amazing. I mean, I always grew up just knowing that I wanted a family, by the way, because I come from a very neat family, and I knew for sure that's what I wanted. I was very certain about that, by the way. Ever since I was a little girl, I knew that I wanted a family. But when I got married, I also thought that I had healed. First, I want to mention that I grew up in Muranga. Yeah, so I grew up in a country for the first 13 years of my life, and my mom was the person that she was my to-go-to person, basically, in everything, literally everything. By the way, guys, mark this word, she was my everything. She was my everything. Yeah. And so my dad was in Nairobi. Yeah. So I mean, we'd see him less and we'd see my mom every day, right? So my mom was my best friend. I don't have a sister. I have 2 older brothers. So my mom was like, this person. She was my everything. She was my sister. She was my mom. She was my best friend. I told her literally everything. Even those things that you think you can't tell your mother, I told my mom, because she was my everything, literally. So when I got into the marriage, I had this thing in my mind. Like, I always felt as though there wasn't anyone capable enough to love me as deeply as my mother did. My mom loved me so much. I was her star. I was also her everything. Like, like she loved me so much. And she often expressed it in words and in actions. I saw it in her eyes. She loved me, for sure. She loved me unconditionally. Like, there's nothing I could ever possibly do for my mom to ever love me less. And that unconditional love, I know you guys know it. Mother, daughter, or mother son, mother child, that love that you just love your child with. Same love. But when I got married, and love was shown to me, I kinda ran away from it. And I think this is because I never felt as though there was anyone who was capable of loving me, like the way my mom loved me. I felt that way, And so what happened was, so I'd project a lot of issues onto Davis. Like, I'd just be very petty, and I'd be very, I became this person who was, like, I couldn't open up as easily. I never felt as though there was anyone who was worth hearing my deep secrets, or not even secrets, like, those, my deep feelings or how I'm feeling. I never felt as though there was anyone who was worth that. And no matter what Davis tried to do in our marriage, like, Davis is this, he's a very kind, considerate, self-sacrificing person. Well, when he's at his best, huh? Yeah. Yeah, but he's a very kind and considerate person, and so he showed me a lot of love, deep love, like, showed me that, I was just that person. He showed me a lot of love, from the onset, basically. But I never accepted that love initially. Yeah, So I knew that he loved me, yes, etc. But it was difficult for me to trust. It was difficult for me to open up. It was difficult for me to know that I can be loved unconditionally by anybody else. And I feel as though I was also very bitter, um, with, uh, with God for taking my mom. I also was bitter at the world. I was bitter at nothing. Like, I was just bitter, you know? Like, I was just bitter. I was very bitter, and I never knew I was bitter. You know, this is the funniest thing, that when I got married, when I got into the marriage, I never knew that these were things which were eating me up from inside. Like, you know, it was just crazy. Like, I was just in a funny space. Like, you know, like, you don't even know, like, you don't even know what you're doing there. Like, I don't know. And then, you know, when you're married, when you just get married, you really need your mom. Yeah? And that's when it really dawned on me that, oh my God, I don't have a mother. Like, even if I ever have a fight with my husband, like, there's no one to tell. Like, that best friend I had is gone, you know? And it was so difficult for me to accept that. And I used to feel like I need to blame it on someone. And more often than not, I'd just blame it on Davis. For no reason, by the way. And this really weighed me down. It weighed me down a lot. I would say that I learned about God's goodness and his faithfulness, and just how great he is when my mom passed on, because it gave me a lot of strength to move on. But I also felt as though, you know, I started asking myself questions later. You see, when I lost my mom, the initial feeling that I felt was that, you know, that this is God's decision, this is fine, this is okay, and I can move on and I'm gonna be fine. But you see, 1 year down the line, this came to actually distract me in my marriage, because I started feeling as though, you know, God, like, when I started missing my mom, really. Do you know, there are times I'd get onto, like, a matatu, and I see a mom and a daughter, and I just start crying. Like, okay, like, I was crying because, like, because I don't have a mom. Like, I was even bitter with the world, you know? And this made me just become this funny person. By the way, I think I'm the only one who can really explain, you know, like, how I was feeling. It was just nasty. It was bad. But this took a very long time, because in June, when we had gotten married, okay, like 6 months later, I began writing a book, and I poured my emotions on that book. So I wrote this book. It's still there. It's a 72-page book. Yeah, if you want to buy it. Yeah, actually, the funds from this book go to an organization which I began, which helps children who have lost their mothers. It's called Shining for Mommy Society. So yeah, basically, so that's what happened. And I was just at a place, I was just at a, you know, I was just in just that funny space, yeah. But I poured my emotions onto that book. I literally poured my emotions onto the book, yeah. All my tears. Whether that book is a representation of my tears, yeah. But it helped me a lot. It helped me to pick up the pieces. It helped me to learn, you know, to learn that Davis is gonna love me just right, and that I cannot compare my mother's love with the way Davis was going to love me. It brought me to that acceptance level of knowing that my mom is gone. Actually, when I finished that book, I knew that my mom was gone and she was in a better place. I knew that she had expectations of me. I knew that she wanted me to shine for her. I knew that she wanted me to be the best wife to Davis. I knew for a fact. I knew that for a fact. And so I was able to move on from that, yeah? But by the time, let me tell you guys, by the time I was actually finished, I was done with myself and done working on myself and with this grief thing and me going to therapy and just trying to, you know, just trying to piece up everything, I found that Davis was also in his own space, where I had already messed with the foundation of the marriage. And so there was no, you know, there was no that openness where we could just talk about anything, yet we were newly married, by the way. And you know what baggage does? And this is one thing that I've learned. Baggage always, you know, it manifests like very quickly sometimes. And so it could be, you could think it's not something that is gonna like ail you guys, but you get married and you realize it's, you know, like, this is it, this is bad. And so for the first few, tuseme first 2 years of our marriage, we were literally working now around that. Like I was in a different space. I had moved on. I was better. I had healed a bit, and I was continuing the healing journey. But Davis was also at a place where he was, I mean, this girl, is she really the person that, is she the person that I really wanted to marry? Because I've already shown him like a different side that probably he didn't expect from me. And so he was also in a different space. So now we started working on other issues. And that's where I feel as though, it really weighed us down. It made us struggle a bit before we could now figure it out and work on ourselves, and also work together to just make the marriage stand. So grief, guys, is one other. It's the fifth thing. It's the fifth baggage that you could bring onto your marriage. This means literally, like when you lose a loved one, it could be your mom, your dad, your sister, a sibling, a friend, someone that you just lost before you got married, and when you get married, then you project these issues onto your partner, and it's difficult. So I'll urge anyone who probably has gone through grief and you feel as though it's interfering with your marriage or distracting you from being the best wife or the best mother that you could ever be, please sort it out, guys. Sort it out. Grief can really tear you down. It can tear you down without you knowing. Like, it's something which is not, you're not gonna do it consciously, but it can break you guys down. Yes. And so that's the baggage that I brought into the marriage. And I think I have others, but today we're just gonna talk about that one. Yeah. And I hope you guys can, work on those different issues that you feel are weighing you down, and those things that you feel are making you struggle in your marriage, and kick off that baggage. Guys, unpack the baggage, unpack those bags, and you'll just see how better you become in your marriage. The earlier you unpack, the better. Yeah. In fact, you should just unpack. The moment you check into that door of marriage, you should just unpack, and it's gonna be okay. All right, guys. I'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Focus on Marriage and Family. Yes, subscribe. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.